Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Matthew Soto, and this is episode 1 of 2019 of I Must Ask You a Question. And I'm really excited today. I have my good friend, Evan Stewart here. Hey, Evan, thank you for joining me on this first episode of my podcast and video show. How are you doing?
I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
That's awesome, bud. So, this is just going to be some raw content. We're not going to be scripted. I really haven't given you any questions, but, I just want people to know who you are. Like, who is Evan Stewart?
Sure, absolutely. Well, I'm a motivator. I'm a people person. I'm professionally a real estate professional, a speaker, a trainer, and a coach. But at my core, I just am really diving into the principles of our humanity. And really what I do and who I am is an individual that goes out and tries to leave people and places and environments better than I found them in every action.
Yeah, now that's awesome because our paths crossed, I would say, mid last year, 2018.
I think so.
So we've only known each other for, maybe 6-7 months like that. But instantly, when we first met, I knew that connection. They tell people you should be surrounded by like-minded people who are going to elevate you, your business, your life. And I just want you to know that you're one of those guys for me.
I appreciate that. No, you're a great influence on my life, too. I agree.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it. So I know you're, like you mentioned, you're a real estate agent. You're a mentor, a coach, a life coach, a business coach, a husband. You're an avid rock climber.
I guess that's true.
You're all kinds of stuff. No, hey, you have to throw in husband in there.
That's right.
It's kind of like a job. It's part of life. I mean, you have to work at it when you're married.
That's true.
People think it's easy, and it's not. So when people ask me, what do? I throw that in there. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I mean, I'm everything. But you're involved in so many things. I mean, how do you do it? Lots of people always complain, I don't have time for this, I don't have time for that. But yet you're involved in a lot of aspects in different businesses. I mean, tell everybody out there watching, how do you do it?
Well, I believe that if you're saying that you don't have time for something, then you really just haven't made time for something. Because I believe that there are 3 areas in our life that we need to put time and energy and resources. The first one is the dominant focus in your life, which is where you're going to spend the majority of your time and your energy and your resources.
Yeah.
The second is your relative focus, which is 1 degree removed. It's something that feeds your daily activities that you don't get fed in the dominant focus. Now, the dominant focus isn't always work, but it's some big overarching goal or concept that you want to go and push towards. So for example, maybe somebody who's creative, the dominant focus could be a very work-based activity. The relative focus could be pushing them in a forward momentum, creativity attached to the dominant focus or something that gives them that feedback. And then the third is the necessary focus. And the necessary focus is, I don't care if you want to or if you don't, you have to do it. Sometimes a necessary focus is you have to hate your job so much that you can work your way out of it.
Oh yeah,
right?
Definitely.
And so the way that I structure my day is I don't do a lot of just hanging back and relaxing. My days are very long, but every action that I take is either a dominant, a relative, or a necessary focus, and everything that I do is a step towards something that I'm pursuing. And so in reality, like even with rock climbing, the reason I prefer rock climbing instead of going to the gym is because I'm terrified of heights. Like I hate heights.
Wow.
I do, and so the reason why I do really extensive and just really hardcore training as a rock climber is because it's mental agility, just like physical agility. So I can push myself into deep realms of discomfort. So when I have to go and make those calls or push for that close or work with that client or have a longer day at the office, that doesn't matter because I'm constantly feeding discomfort in my life to take those steps forward.
Yeah, and that's true because last year I started running. I hate running. I wanted to be more active, and I hated doing it. And I challenged myself. I signed up for a half marathon.
Good for you.
And what's crazy is I didn't train for it. I had a schedule. I didn't follow it. I think I got up to only 9 miles of training.
Wow.
I didn't do it consistently, and it was crazy because even the day of, my wife's like, you're not going to this race. And I said, yes, I am.
Wow.
She's like, no, you didn't train. What happens if something happens to you? I need my husband. My kids need their father. I was like, don't worry. I'm going to be fine. But I did it to get past that fear or, to keep going and motivate not only myself, but to prove to myself that I could do it. And I crossed the finish line. It was an amazing feeling. And now I have I'm on this new high where I continue to run and do it, not only for myself, but for others out there, a lot of people mention, they hate their job, they hate working out, they hate doing this,
Sure.
hate. But in reality, you have to move past something in order to get there. So, I mean, what is your perspective for people who talk like that, who say, I hate my job, I hate this? What do you suggest that they first do to get going past all that?
Well, the first one is I think you have to decide what you're more uncomfortable with, living a life of mediocrity or moving into deep uncertainty, right?
Yes.
Because my definition of fear is uncertainty in motion.
Yeah.
Fear is uncertainty in motion, and on the other side of fear is a deeper intimacy with your potential. And so when people say things like, I hate my job, or I hate this, or I hate that, I hate going to the gym, is a failure to recognize that you're not going to work out, you're going to add additional discipline to your body and to your mind.
Yeah.
And so what I think is, if you actually are an individual that's saying something like that, recognize what is it about the action that's leading to that negativity in your life, and can you restructure it? Now, sometimes environments or relationships are just abusive, and you really need to exit, but most of the time they're not. I don't like going to the gym, and I didn't until I didn't think of it as, I'm going to go and pump iron. It's now, I am going to go and prove to myself that I have the mental agility, the daily discipline, that I have the grit and the hardness necessary to be productive on my own life, so I can go and push other people to be productive in theirs.
Yeah.
And if you're in that rut, that feedback loop of negativity, I would look at your life and say, what is it about my life that's breeding the negativity? Because it's not really the gym that you hate. It's more of, I'm so overworked that when I get home, I'm so emotionally and mentally drained that I don't have the ability or the willpower to get myself into another environment, because all my life, all I'm doing is fighting, and I'm tired of fighting. I just gotta breathe.
Yeah.
So that's not a problem with the gym. That's a problem that the rest of the life is so out of sync and out of focus, that the rest of the life is so far disconnected from your actual purpose and your potential, that you're fighting just to get back to a sense of normalcy instead of fighting to better yourself.
Wow. No, that's awesome. I hope you're paying attention to this. Rewind it, go back and listen to it, because I'm telling you, this is great information, great stuff for all of you to get past all this and get moving in 2019. I mean, we're only a couple weeks in, so you still got plenty of time to make those changes and those pivots and those tweaks to get you on the path of where you're trying to go. So let's talk about, now I know recently you've launched your own coaching company.
Sure.
Is it more life? Is it more business coaching, or a little bit of both? I mean, tell me a little bit about that aspect of your life and your business.
Absolutely. So before I got into real estate, my background was in entrepreneurial consulting. It's a big fancy word for, I'm a high-paid plumber. I go into your business, I find the kinks, and I flush it out. Nice. And then I got into real estate and whatnot. And so what I coach on is, I believe that personal development goes out the window when bills come in the door. So we teach how to earn and have the missing structures and methodology to actually bring financial consistency, because that has such a dead weight to the rest of your life. Now, I believe that there's more than just business that makes a person a whole person, and I believe in diving into the other areas of your personal growth, because the identity of your business never exceeds the identity of yourself. So if you work on yourself, you can, in conjunction, build out the identity of who you are as a professional. So there's a lot of focus on business growth, on business development. This is the non-romantic, gritty aspects of closing sales and mastering objections and duplicating good clients and getting referrals in your business and taking your business from a 5-figure to a 6-figure to a 7-figure to an 8-figure business, that type of thing. And then there's also the more romantic side of it, which is the anatomy of fear and uncertainty, the anatomy and the methodologies of consistency and true personal discipline, familial discipline, how to communicate in times of high uncertainty and stress, things that a lot of people don't focus on. I've been coaching kind of under the radar, just helping out a lot of people for about 2.5 years, but I really decided to take that paradigm shift within the last couple of months of, okay, now I'm devoting a significant amount of time and energy and resources, my dominant focus for 2019, in helping other people achieve their potential and their purpose through a better understanding of their own environment and their sense of humanity.
Wow, that's awesome. Now let me ask you, this is to me, it's always a powerful question, because in real estate, the public view it as, oh man, these people are making a lot of money, this and that, whether it's in coaching, whether you're in sales, whatever it is, but in reality, we do it for different reasons.
Yes.
I do it to help people because when I was young and I was going through a process, I got screwed over.
Sure.
You know, I always walked down the path and fell in love with a home and couldn't buy it. You know, so my dreams were crushed then. But like you said, in 2019, your focus is shifting more towards your coaching to help others. Why would you want to do that if you're able to dominate more in real estate and make a bigger living financially? So what is your aspect behind wanting to help others versus growing a different aspect of a business to get richer, what people say?
Well, I think, you know, the first things first is let's quell all the thoughts and all the rumors. The average age of the real estate agent in the United States is 57 years old. The average real estate agent closes $1.1 million in volume. Volume is the sales prices of the homes added together. $1.1 million in volume over the course of a year, which is roughly $30,000 before a split with your broker, because your broker takes a piece of that pie before taxes and before expenses, which means your average realtor actually nets between $7,000 and $15,000 a year. That's the reality of real estate in the United States of America. Net.
Yes.
You can't. I mean, you literally would make more as, you know, a freaking manager in retail than you would in real estate.
Oh, yes.
So
I understand.
I think, you know, I've been very blessed to have a business that is a multiple 8-figure closing record, and real estate is still a very important dominant focus, and helping those families is a very important dominant focus in my life. But at the end of the day, what I found is that if all of my life, if every aspect of who I am can be involved in helping another person achieve, then there's no reason why I shouldn't. And I believe that recognizing that potential and not taking action on it is a violation of my moral and my ethical responsibility to the people that are important in my life.
Wow.
And so it's not really moving away from one, moving into other. It's more of having an ability and a recognition to bring value to people in another way, and then taking action on that, because they can be complementary to each other.
No, definitely, yeah. I mean, they go hand in hand, you know. In real estate, in the 5 years that I'm going on now, you know, they always say, get a coach, do this, get that, because they do go hand in hand. And it's not always a business coach, it's always a life coach. Because like I said, you know, I'm married with kids, and sometimes it's finding that time for everything. And it's like, I want to be with my family. Well, I need to go pay the bills. I need to go work. I need to go on appointments. I need to do this. And you know, something I'm doing this year is like this video content and this audio content. I mean, you're doing the same.
Absolutely.
Last year, I had to train myself to wake up at 4 a.m. in order to fit these type of things into my schedule.
That's right.
So that nothing else does. I mean, I know you're an early riser, and I see you posting in some of our groups early in the morning, motivating people. You motivate me, getting up, keep going. So what can you just tell the public about changing your schedule to fit in these type of things? You know, because people think we're probably crazy that we're some type of robot or something for waking up that early. But honestly, I mean, I have more energy throughout the day when I do.
I mean, you do when you get up, and like, you know, we can again quell the rumor, like, no one really loves getting out of that bed that early, right? I mean, there's nothing, like, it's freezing, you get out of bed, you put your feet on the floor, it's cold, you're tired, like, that's not fun. That's not fun at all. But the way that I encourage you to think about it is, again, this is all paradigm shifts of thought. And if you can recognize, I love the saying, I'd rather be tired than broke. Because you can spend all, and we've done this, spend all Saturday vegging out in front of Netflix, you're eating crap food, you're just sitting there not doing anything, and you're still exhausted by the end of the day. You can hit the similar threshold of tired with high amounts of productivity. So I look back on my day and say, time is the one thing that you can't really earn back. Now, you can buy it back when you become wealthy enough. That's why private jets are so expensive, is because you're buying time. You can buy it back when you become wealthy enough, but even then you're not really buying it back, you're just buying another threshold of opportunity. So if you think about it, your life is really like somebody giving you $100 and saying, you can do whatever you want with this $100, but every year I'm going to take one away. That's it. So your buying power, metaphorically, goes down every single day. So if that's the case, then there's no such thing as, like, I hate it when people say, oh, I'm going to go, I got some time to kill. No, you freaking don't, because you can walk out and get hit by a car and then you're done. And so if you really change that thought process and recognize you're going to be tired when you go to sleep, whether or not you spend all day working, whether or not you spend...
Awesome. So we had some little technical difficulties, but we're back up and running. You know, to pick up where we left off, we're talking about time, waking up early in the morning, things like that. You know, we're talking about different things. Like, you mentioned one thing about being able to buy your time when you become wealthy, to like these jets and all this. But I mean, in reality, the average person will probably never get there.
That's true.
You know, they'll probably never. I may never experience buying a jet, nor maybe I won't even want to.
That's
because
true.
I would rather invest that money into something else.
That's true.
So talk to me about what the average person out there who's watching this can do to better themselves financially, you know, and to move in that better step. You know, for instance, for an example, people talk about, I can't buy a house because I don't have any money.
Right.
You know, so I always tell them, well, then you need to budget. You need to find out where it is, because everybody can do it. I mean, it doesn't take much financially to get there. So, I mean, you, in your experience, I mean, what are some things that people can do to better off themselves financially?
Well, and it's funny you mentioned this, because this is one of the concepts I talked about in my Monday Motivation video 2 weeks ago, I believe, which is the principle of collecting money, not earning money. And this is a powerful, powerful thought process, because there's nothing that's written that states that you are worth a specific dollar amount per hour or per year. Because so many people think, I need money, therefore I'm going to earn. I don't think that way. I think I need money, therefore I'm going to collect. And that's very different, because now you're going to find it instead of going to exchange for it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So what I mean by that is, everybody has unique God-given abilities that allow them to bring a specific individual value to their environment, to their friends, to their family, but not everybody commoditizes that. If you actually think about it, maybe you work 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, there's a good chunk of your day in the early morning and in the evening where you're not doing anything. Maybe you're a person who has a creative streak, and you're going and you're working in a creative position in a company. Well, when you go back home, instead of just sitting down on the couch and not doing anything, open up your laptop and build websites and do logos, and maybe you're a musician. It's not going to be too terribly difficult for you to go and make 30-second promos for entrepreneurs that are starting up their company. If you can take your music that you've already made and turn it into sound bites and then go and resell it to entrepreneurs or individuals or filmmakers looking for background music or podcast music or intro music. Or if you're a professional and you're amazing at numbers, try and see if there are ways to advance in the company by freelancing your work, or to see if there are ways to advance in your friendships by freelancing your work and commoditizing your strengths. And so what I would think of is, if you're in a position where you think, okay, this is all fine and good, but I really need to earn some cash, look at your life and say, what am I good at that I'm not directly trading for income at my office job? And how can I utilize that? Who would look for what I'm offering, and who would pay the most for it? And then you go and you package it in a way that's desirable. I recommend 3 levels. The entry level for people to interact, the middle level, which most of your breadth is going to fall, because everyday people want to have a really good experience for a great value, and the top level, because people with money want you to respect the fact that they have money by having a high-end experience. Package it up, and then go and move yourself into the environments of people that can find it. It's not, and you know, I might get some flack for this, but it's not that hard to find another 1,000 or 2 or 3 per month with this mindset. I'm not saying that it's not complicated. I'm not saying that it's not going to take some time, but I'm saying, fundamentally speaking, commoditizing your strengths is a lot easier than trading out that time for a 9 to 5.
Awesome. No, I don't want to take up too much more of your time, so I must ask you a question. And since we are in real estate,
yes,
I'm going to put this out there towards our colleagues.
Okay.
You know,
okay.
and people who are wanting to get into real estate. What are some tips? Okay, so 2 parts. What are some tips for current agents to level up and to grow their business?
Okay. Think anybody is guilty until proven innocent is the principle I teach for my agents. Everybody is a prospect until they're proven that they're not. Some examples of deals I closed last year. My dental hygienist's fiance, or my elementary school drama teacher, for example. Everyone's a prospect until they're not. Because so many people have the preconceived consideration, oh, this person will want to work with me because of X or something like that, when in reality, that's your own mind getting in your own way. So I would go through and really think about everything you can get your hands on, every person you can touch, like your best friend's mother's girlfriend's daughter. I'm serious, because when you can go that deep, then you can start finding new opportunities for transactions in real estate, or to help other people, or to get referrals, or that one concept alone. I mean, that was the thing that really started skyrocketing my business when I started hitting those advancement periods, was just looking around, and there's so many people that we don't think of, that you don't have your hands in their life when you really should, because they need you just like the person that you know really well.
So I thought I was going to end this early, but that was so good. agents out there, even myself sometimes, because we're not all perfect, fear reaching out to the elementary teacher that you sold a home to or whoever it is. So give 2 quick things on what they can do to bypass that fear and actually go in and talking to them.
Remember, fear, I just said its a definition is uncertainty in motion. When uncertainty is in motion, it's because you're not. Because uncertainty grows in the dark. It grows in stagnantism. So if you literally start moving, one of my principles is commit first, figure it out later. When you start moving, fear can't. And instead of asking yourself, what if, ask yourself, what if I don't? Because the what if I don't compounded over a long period of time is the what if I don't. Now it's because I didn't, I can't send my daughter to college, get my wife the car, buy the bigger house, take off time for my family vacation to celebrate something important. Because the what if I didn't mindset didn't exist years and decades earlier, now it's not even what if I don't, it's I can't. And so instead of thinking about, on the other side, like we talked about, on the other side of fear and uncertainty is the better version of yourself. Instead of thinking about the short-term comfort of I'm going to retreat, think about the long-term benefit of if I expand in every relationship in my life over the course of decades, how much better a life I can provide to the people that are important to me than making this decision because I want it for me right now.
Yeah, awesome. So the second part of that was a lot of people that I know are always asking me, hey man, I want to get into real estate.
Yeah.
They think we make it look so easy. HGTV, Bravo TV, they make it look so easy and get rich. So what words of wisdom do you have for people out there who are wanting to get into this career? Because we both love it. Mm-hmm. It's simple, but it's not easy.
That's right.
So what are something that you can tell them and get their mind thinking to make sure before they waste time on signing up for a school, mm-hmm. going through the classes, mm-hmm. taking the exam, and then it not be for them? What can you tell them? The whole aspect of getting into real estate.
I think first and foremost, be true with yourself and figure out why. Because some people get into real estate because it's an industry that can stroke your ego really well. It's the only industry you'll put your face on a sign before you market your product. So if you're getting in as an ego stroke, go make money elsewhere and buy a billboard and slap your face on it. I would recognize if you're getting in because you want the intimacy of helping people in some of their most vulnerable moments, that's a good reason to get into real estate. Real estate is very entrepreneurial. If you have entrepreneurial tendencies, that's a good reason to get into real estate because your reward is a direct reflection of your effort and your abilities. And frankly, be honest with yourself in your ability to work. We're not going to pretend like it's the Instagram, everybody's hustling, but the hustle, so to speak, doesn't exist for a lot of people. If it doesn't exist for you, it's probably not the industry for you. Because like Matt said, we can sit back here and make it look easy with cameras and everything like that. But the reality of real estate is it's a lot of work. It's walking miles and miles and miles in fancy shoes that aren't even that comfortable through tons and tons of houses that are too cold in the winter, too hot in the summer, managing emotions and egos and expectations and negotiating and dealing with numbers and ceiling fans falling through the ceiling and a bunch of stuff going wrong. That's the reality of real estate. And it's really, really hard work. It's unbelievably rewarding. But the gap of work is where most agents fail.
Awesome, guys. So last thing, I must ask you, what can I do for you? What can everybody watching here do for Evan Stewart?
Well, I appreciate that. I think right now my social is at Real Evan Stewart. That's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. I think if you've enjoyed the conversation, I'd love to engage with you on a deeper level. I'd love for you to start seeing some of my content. I push out lots of videos on a daily basis to give you mindset methodology, actionable takeaways to go and live a better version of yourself to earn more. And I think that would be, that's probably the main thing is I'd love to get engaged with you. And then, of course, if for your sake, if you guys like this podcast, share it for Matt. Let's get his word out here and go and support more people in the community.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank all of y'all for tuning in. And until next time, I must ask you a question.